Michigan under the British flag. The British flag waved high over Michigan soil for 36 years, from 1760 to 1796. The French ruled Michigan until 1760, when a treaty was signed in Paris. British Major Robert Rogers and his troops moved in and took command of Detroit. As mentioned in Michigan, A History of the Wolverine State, the French encouraged retaliation from the Indian against the British. The French tried to bribe the natives with liquor, gifts, and paying top dollar for their fur, as well as anything their hearts desired. However, after the British took control and after the French-Indian War, General Jeffrey Amherst put a stop to all handouts, leaving the Indians to fend for themselves due to unreasonable prices on liquor and other items. They had to depend only on their own goods instead of getting European goods in which they became accustomed to. When the abolition of French fur trading began, the market went into nothing but a downward spiral. The free rein economy opened the gates of hell as cheating, fraud, and dishonesty became the norm in how the British ran their businesses. The Indians stood back and watched their land being crowded out by money-hungry Brits. Many of the tribes had become infuriated and began brainstorming ways to reclaim their native land. After only 2 years of living in British dystopia, George Croghan from Fort Pitt had informed of a secret war council at the Ottawa's tribe village, conveniently located along the Detroit River. Chiefs from the Ottawa, Huron, and Potawatomi attended, as well as the Chippewa tribe. To zoom in more on the attempts by the Indians to reclaim their land, let's focus on the Ottawa chief Pontiac's war. According to DetroitHistorical.com, Pontiac was the restless spirit in the plot to raise hell against the British. He is credited with leading the series of multiple attacks to try and reclaim what were the Indian lands. His first attack was planned in April of 1763. The site of the meeting was which is present-day Council Park, or downriver city of Lincoln Park. He called for this attack by being able to gain entrance into a fort that was being commanded by Major Henry Gladwin. While it is true that Gladwin never revealed who told him of Pontiac's visit, the theory most popular, from Francis Parkman's History of the Conspiracy of Pontiac, is that an Indian woman named Catherine, who was in love with Gladwin, wanted to protect him from death. The first attack included 60 of Pontiac's tribe members, who had tomahawks, knives, and muskets hidden in blankets. Pontiac's strategy was to scatter out the men, personally go up and talk to Gladwin, and then wave a piece of cloth to signal the attack. When the morning of May 7, 1763 arrived, Gladwin and Captain Campbell stood waiting, guns blazing. It was at this point Pontiac knew that Gladwin had heard of his plan. He withdrew from the fort, tried again 2 days later, and was not admitted this time. Pontiac had to speak quick. A week later, after killing around 30 British men, Pontiac requested a truce. Tricking Campbell and his right-hand man, Lieutenant George McDougall, into thinking that he wanted peace, they came out to talk. Pontiac captured both of them and held them prisoner. After learning of this, the officers under Campbell and McDougall began killing Indians, including former Chippewa chief's nephew. Chief Lawson was so irate, he snatched up Captain Campbell, tore his scalp off, and ate his heart. These attacks led by Pontiac inspired all Indians nationwide to attack the British force. The next capture was Michilimackinac, which was successful by the present Chippewa chief known as Minnevana. This slick plan included him becoming friends with the commander of the post whose name was Captain Etherington. The chief suggested that they throw a birthday celebration in honor of King George III. He had this all planned out and had the captain wrapped around his finger. The festivities included a ball game, which is present-day lacrosse, between the Chippewa and Saul tribes. The game was held conveniently close to the gates, allowing the tribe members to hide right outside and wait for the chief's call. As the game went on, the Indians purposely hit the ball over the gate, and when the Englishmen went to retrieve it so willingly, the attack began. Captain Everington and Lieutenant William Leslie were held prisoner after 18 soldiers were killed, which history calls the massacre at Michilimackinac. Instead of killing the two men held prisoner, the Ottawa tribe took it upon themselves to take them to L'Arbre Croche. Basically, the Indians wanted to sell Everington and Leslie back to the British. Thanks to Pontiac, the Indians were successful in taking over every British post except for Detroit. This led to the failure of bringing back their Indian lands. While Pontiac didn't want to give up the powerful killing spree he was on, he did not have a choice, as his tribe members were leaving to make peace with Campbell. Pontiac realized that there was no way he could defeat the British in Detroit due to their strong waterborne military and the fact that his tribe count was declining. Pontiac attended a peace council with many other chiefs, vowing to work for peace between the British and the Indians. While he tried to do the right thing, there was one crooked tribe who took offense to the fact that Pontiac became pro-British. In the spring of 1969, the Peoria tribe killed Pontiac. As time went on, the remaining Indian tribes tended to their village and rested the forts in Detroit. This became a huge center for fur traders. In October of 1763, the president of the Board of Trade, the Earl of Shelburne, introduced the Proclamation of 1763. This policy was adopted by the British and it reserved all the land west of the Alleghenies for the Indians. However, several of the colonies already had claims to this land, which in turn avoided the proclamation. Once again, the Indians were pushed further and further out of their lands, which is one of the main causes of the American Revolution. Fast forward to 1792. Anthony Wayne was appointed Army Commander of the United States by George Washington. His role was defending the Anglo-American settlers from attacks by Ohio's American Indians who resided in the area. According to DetroitHistory.org, Wayne constructed over 20 forts. American Indians became quite concerned, as Wayne moved against the American Indians, which on August 20th, 1794, they met at the Battle of Fallen Timbers. Wayne's men caused the Indian forces to flee from the battlefield. The Indians realized that they were doomed because of Britain's refusal to support them. On August 3, 1795, the Treaty of Greenville was signed. Indian nations agreed to move to the northwestern part of what is now Ohio, leaving everything they had. Indians reluctantly moved, and American Indians struggled for revival for the rest of their days.